Since I was a young girl, Anne Shirley has always been my favorite literary heroine. I always felt a connection with Anne's way of looking at the world. Her ability to remain curious and notice the simple joys despite the hardships that she faced. Here are some fun takeaways to help you channel your inner Anne Shirley energy. Anne, more than anything else, is a daydreamer. She sees the world with wonder, curiosity, and eternal optimism. She imagines what could be. If you think about it, life is a great stage play, and Anne is always shining bright as the main character. She takes her life's time seriously, and she uses every day to its maximum potential by imagining wonderful things. Anne's imagination gifted us with enchanting names for simple places in her world. Mr. Barry's Pond becoming the Lake of Shining Waters, the Avenue becoming the White Way of Delight. Using our imaginations is the easiest way to make life more fun. Noticing the simple joys is the thing that I think so many of us can relate to with Anne Shirley. She captured an energy, an essence that so many of us eternal optimists can relate to. And it's why we fell in love with her and her story. While Anne sits with Marilla in the dining room, she, quote, tipped the vase of apple blossoms near enough to bestow a soft kiss on a pink-cupped bud, and then studied it diligently for some moments longer. This sentence in Anne of Green Gables truly encapsulates the way that Anne Shirley notices and admires the simple beauties in her life, and I just adore this sentence so much. Anne Shirley is within all of us. She is the embodiment energetically of awe, wonder, the simple joys. She is able to marvel at life and remain open-hearted and open-minded to life and all of the characters that enter her story. One of the things I especially love about Anne Shirley is her connection with nature and how she openly whispers to the moon and speaks to the trees, and she just has this divine connection with the energetics of nature. Nature is always speaking to us. Listen to its whispers. Do as Anne Shirley does and whisper aloud to the stars, talk to the moon, wonder aloud to the trees, the plants, the insects. Develop a relationship with the natural world. Even if you look silly while doing it, even if you look so silly talking to the stars or wishing aloud to the moon, cultivate that relationship and that connection, because I believe that nature really does listen to us, and nature gives us signs, and nature is always whispering to us and giving us messages. Can we slow down enough to marvel more and listen to its messages? Fresh starts are always around the corner. Tomorrow is always fresh, with no mistakes in it. Anne teaches us that there is always another bend in the road in this thing called life. She has this optimism, this resilience. Nothing in her life consistently runs in her favor. Life is not perfect, but Anne knows that staying hopeful is the key to having a joyful life. And she looks to each new day as a new beginning, a fresh start, a blank canvas to begin painting on. Self-acceptance takes time. Anne goes through serious trauma and devastation in her life. But perhaps the single greatest trial in Anne's life, according to Anne, is her bright red hair. She describes her vibrant locks as her, quote, lifelong sorrow, to the point that she resents God for giving her red hair and refuses to pray because of it. And this is just one of many attributes and characteristics that she despises in herself. Over the course of the books, slowly she begins to accept and love herself as she is. And this is something that I and so many of us can relate to. Loving yourself enough to accept all of your flaws, all the disliked aspects of yourself, is a true sign of empowerment. And it takes time to mature and grow into true self-acceptance. Self-love and self-acceptance doesn't happen overnight. It takes experience, life experience, and various struggles to grow resilient enough to eventually begin to accept the person that you are. This requires trust and self-awareness and being patient with yourself over time. But Anne shows us that time is always on our side, that your unique and original self is worth celebrating, and that learning to love yourself is one of the hardest but most important life lessons of all. Kindred spirits are not so scarce as I used to think. It's splendid to find out there are so many of them in the world. I always thought it hard to meet kindred spirits, people who naturally see the beauty in the small, ordinary moments, the eternal optimists, the old souls and daydreamers. But like Anne has taught us through her many encounters, true kindred spirits are everywhere. It's only when we are open, curious, non-judgmental, when we assume nothing, that is when we can find true friends in just about anybody. Anne has taught me that one can never have too many friends, and that kindred spirits are not too hard to find. So many of us in life are rushing and trying to get things done, to accomplish things, to do things, to have more things. And sometimes we don't stop and take a look around once in a while and marvel at the signs and messages that are being given to us. What you seek, you already know. Everything that you need to hear, you already have within you. It's just a matter of removing that which is covering it up, blocking your inner voice, the soft whispers and the gentle nudges that are beckoning you to listen. The inner voice is quiet, simple, gentle, peaceful, and always present, and you can often hear it in the heart or the gut. Anne's story was brought into the world to teach us, to remind us of the beauty that exists in the simplest and most ordinary of things. We can all harness the energy of Anne Shirley. This energy is within all of us. I hope this video inspires or encourages you to channel your inner Anne Shirley energy. The world calls them its singers and poets and artists and storytellers, but they are just people who have never forgotten the way to fairyland.